voyager. Far beyond the noise of our world, there exists a traveler of silent stone, suspended in the velvet deep of the cosmos. It is an ancient wanderer, cold and vast, drifting through the faint, bioluminescent dust of creation, weightless yet carrying the heavy memory of time itself. Here in this eternal shadow, there is no urgency, only the slow, rhythmic rotation of rock against the stillness of the stars. Tonight, we simply drift alongside its quiet momentum. We dissolve into the vastness, understanding that here in the dark, there is no destination to reach, only the peaceful expanse of the journey itself. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, feel free to like and subscribe. It helps others find their way here too. And just as that ancient stone floats unsupported in the dark, you might invite your own body to find that same sense of heavy weightlessness. Notice how your head begins to sink deeper and deeper into the support of your pillow, mirroring the gravity of the stone. Allow your jaw to soften, perhaps even unhinging slightly as the tension melts away. You may find your eyelids becoming heavy curtains, naturally wanting to close, shutting out the light as you surrender to the pull of deep, restorative rest. Let's begin. In the great expanse, the silent stone drifts without effort or aim. This colossal fragment is carried by the invisible currents of gravity, floating through a sea of eternal night where sound has dissolved into nothingness. The surface is not jagged or harsh, but smoothed by the patient erosion of eons, worn down into a landscape of quiet valleys and sleeping craters. Imagine yourself floating weightless alongside this ancient traveler, bathed in the faint, bioluminescent glow of distant nebulae that paint the rock in shades of deep indigo and soft violet. You feel the coolness of the void, not as a chill, but as a refreshing, heavy blanket that wraps around you, shielding you from the heat and noise of the waking world. Here, the rhythm of time has slowed to a near halt, and the movement is so subtle it feels like stillness. It is a gentle reminder that in this vast and weightless embrace, there is no need to rush, for everything arrives in its own perfect time. Shadows here are long and deep, stretching across the rocky plains like velvet. The light does not burn, instead, it washes over the cratered skin of the asteroid with a gentle, silvery touch, illuminated by stars that have watched for billions of years. The dust that coats the surface is undisturbed, a soft, gray powder that has settled in a layer of perfect peace, waiting in the quiet dark. Picture the slow rotation bringing a new horizon into view, where the light shifts imperceptibly from a deep subterranean black to a cool, shimmering gray. You are witnessing a dance of light and shadow that requires no audience, a performance of pure tranquility that exists simply to be. The vast emptiness surrounds you, holding the asteroid and you in a suspended state of calm where gravity is just a memory. It is a reminder that silence is a physical weight, a comforting pressure that helps you sink deeper into a state of absolute rest. A deep and ancient cold preserves every curve of this wandering world. The temperature here is absolute, a stillness that freezes time itself, keeping the stone unchanged and eternal in its drift through the cosmos. Frost glimmers faintly in the crevices, catching the stray photons of light and turning them into tiny, bioluminescent sparks that flicker and fade in the rhythm of the rotation. Imagine the sensation of this cooling air settling against your skin, soothing any fever of the day, bringing a numbness that is pleasant and heavy. You are being lulled by the consistency of this environment, where nothing shifts and nothing breaks. Only the patient endurance of the rock against the void. The atmosphere is thin and invisible, offering no resistance, allowing you to glide effortlessly alongside the surface. It is a reminder that you are safe to let go of all warmth and tension, allowing your body to cool down and dissolve into the peaceful dark. Distance here is measured not in miles but in depth of silence. This asteroid floats in a pocket of the universe that feels secret and untouched, far removed from the chaotic spin of inhabited worlds. The horizon curves gently away, revealing nothing but the infinite tapestry of space, a canvas of quiet majesty that stretches on forever, Picture the feeling of being entirely alone in the most comforting way possible, wrapped in a cocoon of solitude where no demands can reach you. The heavy silence is a protective layer, dampening every thought until it simply drifts away like dust into the void. You are a passenger on this ancient vessel, carried through the subterranean depths of space without needing to steer or guide the way. It is a gentle reminder that the world will continue to spin without your help, granting you permission to close your eyes and sink into the weightless drift. The path of the stone is a wide and lazy arc through eternity. There is no beginning and no end to this journey, only a continuous, patient loop that circles the dark heart of the solar system. The movement is so smooth it feels like sleep itself, a long and broken line of tranquility that pulls you deeper into the dream. Imagine the gentle gravitational pull that keeps this rock tethered to its course, a softened, invisible hand that guides it through the ages. You are dissolving into this rhythm, your breathing assisting with the slow, almost imperceptible turn of the asteroid as it tumbles through the bioluminescent mist of the galaxy. Everything is slow, everything is heavy, and everything is right where it belongs. It is a reminder that in this vast and ancient silence, you are held securely by forces greater than yourself, allowing you to finally rest. The surface is a landscape of memory carved by the hands of silence. Every ridge and valley on this ancient body has been sculpted by the patient drift of cosmic dust, smoothing over the sharp edges of the past. The terrain is vast and gray, a rolling expanse of stone that absorbs the light and holds it in a quiet embrace. Imagine reaching out to brush your hand against the rough, cold texture of the rock, feeling the solid weight of history beneath your fingertips. There is a grounding sensation here, a heaviness that anchors the spirit, even as the body floats weightless in the void. The dust rises lazily in the low gravity, hanging in the air like a suspended breath before settling back down into the eternal slumber of the craters. It is a gentle reminder that even the roughest surfaces are eventually smoothed by time, leaving only peace and stillness in their wake. Light moves across the dark stone like a slow and heavy tide. As the asteroid turns, the boundary between day and night creeps forward with agonizing slowness, inch by inch, claiming the surface in a rhythm of shadow. The darkness is not empty but rich and velvety, a subterranean black that cradles the stone in a cool embrace. Picture the transition as the faint starlight touches the peaks of the silent mountains, casting long, stretching shadows that seem to reach out and pull the night closer. You are watching a sunset that lasts for centuries, a fading of light that invites a deepened, irreversible calm. The visual hum of the universe is dim here, softened by Bioluminescence, allowing the eyes to rest without strain or focus. It is a reminder that darkness is a natural and comforting state, a blanket that is always waiting to cover you in deep, restorative sleep. A profound stillness resonates through the core of the ancient rock. This is a place where sound has never existed, where the noise of creation has long since dissolved into the vacuum of the deep. The silence is so absolute that it feels like a physical presence, a thick and heavy fluid that fills the space between the stars. Imagine hearing the deep, resonant hum of the universe, a vibration so low it is felt rather than heard, pulsating gently against your chest. This is the heartbeat of the cosmos, a slow and steady rhythm that aligns with your own slowing pulse. You are enveloped in this quiet, shielded from the chaos of sound, floating in a sanctuary where the only requirement is to exist. It is a gentle reminder that in the absence of noise, the mind is free to unspool and drift into a place of perfect, weightless silence. Time unspools even long and unbroken threads of gray. Minutes and hours hold no meaning in this vast expanse where a single rotation takes lifetimes to complete. The urgency of the waking world is forgotten, replaced by the eternal patience of stone and space. Picture the sensation of a clock stopping, the hands freezing in place, dissolving the pressure of schedules and deadlines into the infinite dark. You are stepping out of the flow of time, entering a suspended moment that stretches on forever, calm and undisturbed. The asteroid drifts on its ancient course, unhurried and confident, knowing that it has all of eternity to reach nowhere. The feeling is one of immense relief, a heaviness lifting from your shoulders as you realize there is nowhere else you need to be. It is a gentle reminder that you are permitted to pause, to let the moments pass without counting them, and simply rest. Tiny particles of ice and dust dance lazily in the void. Surrounding the great stone is a faint halo of debris, a cloud of microscopic travelers that shimmer like diamond dust in the weak starlight. They move with a liquid grace, bumping softly against one another in a silent, slow-motion ballet. Imagine watching one single speck of dust floating inches from your eyes, turning on catching the bioluminescent glow of the galaxy before drifting away into the deep shadow. The movement is hypnotic and repetitive, a visual lullaby that draws the heavy eyelids down. You are weightless among them, just another drifting speck in the vast embrace of the cosmos, free from gravity and grounded only by peace. It is a gentle reminder that you can let go of your hold on everything, allowing your thoughts to scatter and drift away like dust into the comforting dark. Deep blues and charcoals paint the canvas of this sleeping world. There are no bright or jarring colors here, only the soothing palette of the subterranean night. The shadows are a rich indigo, blending seamlessly into the black of space, while the highlighted ridges of the asteroid glow with a soft, cool silver. Picture these dark tones washing over your vision, cooling the mind and dimming the inner light. The visual temperature is low and calming, like the feeling of cool water flowing over tired stones. You are immersed in the spectrum of rest, where the eyes are not asked to work, only to soften and blur. The darkness is not frightening but protective, a heavy curtain drawn against the glare. It is a reminder that the cool dark is a place of healing, a sanctuary where you can fade into the background and find deep sleep. The sensation of falling is replaced by a gentle suspension. Gravity here is a whisper, a faint suggestion that does not pull but rather holds you in place. You are suspended in the great open palm of the universe, supported on all sides by the invisible pressure of the void. Imagine the feeling of a heavy blanket being tucked around you, securing you in this specific point of space and time. The asteroid continues its slow, rhythmic tumble, a giant cradle rocking in the dark. You are safe here, hidden away in the vastness far from any shore. The body accepts this support, muscles loosening and surrendering to the drift. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to hold yourself up, for the universe is vast enough to carry your weight while you sleep. The outer shell of this world is a tapestry of frozen silence. This crust has been hardened by the cold vacuum, forming a protective barrier that shields the deep, subterranean stillness within from the rest of the cosmos. It is a surface of ancient grays and muted charcoals, colors that have not changed since the dawn of the solar system. Imagine gliding just inches above this rugged terrain, observing the slow drift of the landscape as it passes beneath you like a moving painting. The details are sharp and clear in the vacuum, every pebble and ridge defined by the harsh, clean light of distant stars. There is a feeling of immense durability here, a sense that this stone has outlasted empires and oceans, existing purely to float and to be. You are witnessing the definition of endurance, a passive strength that requires no effort to maintain. It is a gentle reminder that you can simply exist, strong and still, without needing to change a single thing. Shadows stretch and merge in a slow dance of deep indigo. As the asteroid tumbles through the void, the light plays tricks on the surface, creating long, shifting corridors of darkness that seem to breathe with the rhythm of the rotation. The transition from light to dark is not sudden but gradual, a fading away of visibility into the comforting embrace of the unknown. Picture yourself slipping into one of these long shadows, feeling the visual noise of the universe disappear as you are enveloped in the cool, velvety black. The darkness here is a substance, heavy and soft, filling the craters like pooling water and dampening the senses. You are hidden in the shade, invisible to the rest of the galaxy, safe in a pocket of absolute privacy where the mind can finally unspool. It is a gentle reminder that stepping into the shadows of sleep is a natural and safe retreat, a place where you are held until the light returns. At the center of the mass lies a heavy, silent anchor. Deep beneath the cratered skin, the core of the asteroid waits in a state of eternal suspension, a dense heart of iron and stone that has never seen the light. It provides the faint, invisible gravity that holds the dust and rocks together, a subtle magnetism that binds the world into one cohesive whole. Imagine your awareness sinking down through the layers of rock, past the cold crust, settling into that heavy, motionless center. There's a profound sense of grounding here, a feeling of being pulled gently toward a place of stability that cannot be shaken. The way is comforting, like a heavy quilt pressing down, signaling to the nervous system that it is time to shut down. You are connecting with the slow, geological pulse of the object. It is a reminder that deep within, there is a core of stillness that remains unshaken, a place where you can always return to find rest. Invisible streams of solar wind wash over the stone like a ghost ocean. These particles flow silently from the distant sun, bathing the asteroid in a stream of energy that creates no sound and leaves no mark. The stone receives this flow passively, allowing the magnetic breath of the star to pass over and around it in a continuous rhythmic cycle. Picture these waves of energy as a bioluminescent mist, glowing faintly as they brush against the rough surface, cleansing the rock of static and debris. You are floating in the stream, feeling the gentle current wash over you, carrying away the tension and thoughts of the day like driftwood in a tide. The sensation is one of being bathed in light and silence, a purification that leaves you feeling light and hollowed out in the most pleasant way. It is a gentle reminder that you can let the currents of life flow past you without resistance, allowing them to wash you clean as you drift into sleep. The shape of the world is imperfect and beautifully rough. This is not a polished marble, but a wandering fragment, jagged and tumbling, a testament to the chaotic beauty of creation. The horizon is uneven, dipping into valleys and rising into peaks that silhouette against the star-studded black. Imagine racing that irregular line with your eyes, following the rise and fall of the landscape as it turns against the backdrop of eternity. There is no need for symmetry here, no demand for perfection, only the honest and ancient form of the rock as it is. The rotation reveals new angles, new shadows, each one a unique expression of deep time and silence. You are accepting this imperfection, finding comfort in the fact that nothing here is trying to be anything else. It is a gentle reminder that you are perfect as you are, and in this moment of rest, there are no expectations for you to meet. Millions of miles of empty silence separate this rock from the noise. It is an island of solitude, floating in a sea so vast that distance loses all meaning and becomes a soft, embracing blanket of nothingness. The isolation is not lonely but sovereign, a kingdom of one where the only law is the slow passage of time. Picture the sheer scale of this emptiness, a protective barrier of vacuum that ensures no sound, no alarm, and no demand can ever cross the void to reach you. You are insulated by the light years, wrapped in a cocoon of space that filters out the frequency of the waking world. The silence is a physical weight pressing against the ears, soothing the mind into a state of blank tranquility. You are safe here, unreachable and untethered. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to disconnect completely, to drift away from the shore and float in the peaceful expanse of your own deep rest. The orbit is a promise kept for billions of quiet years. This stone follows a path that was laid out at the dawn of time, a loop that never wavers and never ends. It circles the dark heart of the solar system in a rhythm that is as reliable as the beating of a heart, a cosmic clockwork that ticks in silence. Imagine surrendering to this inevitable path, allowing yourself to be carried along the track of time without needing to steer or decide. There is a freedom in this determinism, a release of control as you realize the universe is handling the navigation. You are simply a passenger dissolving into the motion, trusting the momentum to carry you through the night. Repetition is hypnotic, a soothing cycle that lulls the conscious mind into submission. It is a gentle reminder that you can trust the flow of the night to carry you safely through to the morning, requiring nothing from you but your trust in your sleep. There are places on this world that have never known the sun. Deep within the polar craters, shadows have gathered for eons, creating pools of permanent night that are untouched by the passage of time. The darkness here is thick and absolute, a sanctuary of cold where the temperature drops to a stillness that stops all molecular motion. Imagine descending into one of these deep, silent basins, feeling the protective walls of rock rising up around you to block out the stars. You are entering a womb of ancient stone, a place so quiet that even the concept of sound is lost. The heavy, subterranean cold wraps around you, pressing gently against your skin, slowing your heartbeat to match the frozen rhythm of the rock. It is a place of perfect preservation, where nothing changes and nothing fades, only the eternal rest of the deep shadow. It is a gentle reminder that there are places of safety where the light never intrudes, allowing you to rest in the comforting depth of the dark. Every scar on the surface tells the story of peaceful entrance. The asteroid is pockmarked with the memory of ancient impacts, vast circular valleys that have long since settled into silence. These craters are no longer deep marks but resting places, shallow bowls filled with the softest dust of the cosmos. Picture yourself curling up within the curve of one of these great basins, using the sloped walls of the crater as a cradle for your tired body. The dust is soft and giving, molding perfectly to your form, supporting every limb with a gentle, aerostatic oppression. You are sheltered here, hidden below the horizon line, protected from the vastness of the open void by the rim of the ancient stone. The feeling is one of being held in the palm of a giant hand, secure and grounded while the universe spins endlessly above. It is a gentle reminder that even the roughest surfaces are eventually smoothed by time, leaving only peace and stillness in their wake. Veins of heavy metal run deep through the silent stone. Beneath the greatest lies a skeleton of iron and nickel, dense and cool, formed in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. This metal core gives the asteroid its mass, a silent, magnetic weight that anchors it to the fabric of space. Imagine the sensation of this heaviness, a gravitational pull that is not strong enough to crush, but just enough to ground you. You feel the density of the metal beneath you, a solid and unyielding foundation that absorbs all vibration and tremor. It radiates a slow, conductive cool that seeps into your bones, replacing the frantic energy of the nervous system with the stability of heavy elements. You are becoming as heavy as the iron, sinking down into the support of the rock. It is a gentle reminder that you are grounded by forces older than memory, held firm and steady so that you may safely close your eyes. The world turns on an invisible needle of perfect balance. There is no wobble in this rotation, only a smooth and gyroscopic stability that has maintained its rhythm since the dawn of creation. The spin is so consistent that it feels like stillness, a perpetual motion that requires no energy to sustain. Picture the sensation of being part of this turning wheel, rotating slowly through the dark without ever feeling dizzy or disoriented. You are locked into a cycle of perfect equilibrium where every movement is counterbalanced by the weight of the stone. The momentum carries you effortlessly, a slow motion ride that lulls the mind into a trance. The universe passes by in a blur of slow stars, a hypnotic streak of light that circles your vision before fading into black. It is a gentle reminder that balance is a natural state, and you can trust the momentum of the night to keep you steady while you drift away. The edge of the stone meets the infinite velvet of space. There is a sharp boundary where the solid ground ends and the vast, empty ocean of the void begins. Standing at this precipice, looking out into the deep, there is no fear, only a sense of awe at the sheer scale of the nothingness. Imagine floating just off the edge of the cliff, suspended in the transition between form and emptiness. The silence here is expansive, rushing out to fill the gap between the galaxies, pulling your thoughts out of your head and scattering them like dust. You are untethered, drifting free from the land, floating in the zero-gravity embrace of the vacuum. The separation between you and the universe dissolves, and you become part of the dark, expanding space. It is a gentle reminder that boundaries are soft and permeable, allowing you to drift across the line into the vast, dreamless territory of sleep. Distant suns offer a faint, ghostly illumination. The light that reaches this far-flung traveler is weak and watery, filtered through light years of dust and time. It does not burn or glare, instead, it paints the rock in a wash of bioluminescent and silver, a spectral glow that highlights the texture of the ground without waking the eye. Picture this soft radiance bathing your face, a moonlight that is cold and calming, stripping away the colors of the day and leaving only the peaceful monochrome of the night. The shadows it casts are long and soft-edged, blurring the definition of the world until everything looks like a dream. You are watching the galaxy reflect off the frozen stone, a mirror of the cosmos that shines with a quiet inner light. It is a gentle reminder that even in the deepest dark, there is a soft and guiding light that watches over you, keeping the nightmares at bay. Everything here is suspended in a state of eternal waiting. The asteroid is not going anywhere in a hurry, it is simply existing, a capsule of stone floating in the amber of space. There is no destination to reach, no schedule to keep, and no purpose to fulfill other than to be present in the void. Imagine adopting this state of pure existence, letting go of all ambition and desire, becoming as passive and patient as the rock. You are a fixed point in a moving universe, watching the eons pass by in the blink of an eye. The pressure to achieve or do dissolves into the vacuum, leaving behind a profound sense of relief. You are waiting for nothing, expecting nothing, simply drifting in the here and now. It is a gentle reminder that in this vast space there is nothing you need to do but rest, for you have already arrived exactly where you are meant to be. The boundary of night advances with the slowness of a glacier. This dividing line between the sun and the shadow is a moving wall of cold that claims the surface inch by inch, turning the gray stone into a landscape of obsidian. Imagine standing on this threshold, watching the last sliver of light fade from the peaks of the silent mountains as the darkness sweeps over them. The transition is smooth and absolute, a curtain being drawn across the stage of the world to signal the end of the show. You feel the temperature drop instantly, a wave of cool, heavy air that settles over you like a weighted blanket, pressing the body down into relaxation. The visual detail of the rock is swallowed by the velvet black, leaving you with nothing to focus on, nothing to analyze, only the comfort of the void. It is a gentle reminder that the night is an inevitable, unwelcoming force, always arriving to cover you in peace and allow the waking world to fade. A gentle magnetism hums beneath the surface of the ancient crust. This invisible field traps the asteroid in a weak but constant embrace, a subtle energy that shields the stone from the raw exposure of the open cosmos. Picture this magnetic aura as a faint, violet mist that clings to the ground, glowing softly against the backdrop of the eternal dark. You are lying within this field, feeling the hum of the energy resonating in your bones, a low-frequency vibration that loosens the muscles and undoes the knots of tension. The sensation is one of being held inside a protective bubble, a sanctuary where the laws of the outside world do not apply. The hum is rhythmic and repetitive, a lullaby of physics that sings the mind into a state of deep, subterranean trance. It is a gentle reminder that you are surrounded by unseen forces of protection, keeping you safe and secure while you drift into the depths of sleep. Deep pockets of ice are hidden in the shadows of the craters. These frozen lakes have existed for billions of years, preserved by the permanent cold of the shadow, shining with a dull, bioluminescent gleam in the starlight. Imagine the texture of this ancient ice, smooth as glass and cold enough to stop time itself. You are gliding over these frozen mirrors, seeing your own reflection dissolving into the dark depths below. The air here is crisp and clean, entering the lungs with a cooling sensation that spreads through the chest and limbs, lowering the body temperature to a state of hibernation. The stillness of the ice is contagious, infecting your thoughts with a slow, glacial pace that refuses to be hurried. The world is frozen in a perfect moment of peace. It is a gentle reminder that you can freeze the worries of the mind, locking them away in the cold dark, so that you may rest undisturbed. The silence of the void is a heavy and liquid substance. It fills the space between the stars like a deep ocean, dampening every vibration and swallowing every noise before it can begin. Imagine this silence pouring into your ears, a thick, cool fluid that washes away the echo of voices and the clamor of the day. You are submerged in this quiet, floating waveless in a sea where sound cannot travel. The pressure of the silence is comforting, a physical swaddle that wraps around the head and shoulders, insulating you from the demands of the waking life. There is no need to listen, no need to speak, only to exist in the muffled stillness of the deep. The asteroid drifts silently through this ocean, a mute giant that knows the value of peace. It is a gentle reminder that silence is not an empty space, but a full and heavy embrace that holds you close and safeguards your rest. The rotation reveals the grand tapestry of the Milky Way. As the horizon dips, the dense band of stars rises into view, a river of white and silver dust that stretches across the entire sky. Picture the sheer density of the sight, a soft, glowing cloud that looks like spilled milk on black velvet. You are lying back against the cold stone, gazing up into this infinite depth, your eyes tracing the slow movement of the galaxy as the world turns. The light is not harsh but bioluminescent and hazy, a visual white noise that blurs the edges of your vision and makes the eyelids heavy. The scale of the view makes you feel impossibly small and safe, a tiny speck of consciousness dissolving into the vast, glittering drift. It is a gentle reminder that you are part of a much larger rhythm, a cosmic flow that continues effortlessly while you close your eyes in sleep. A fine layer of cosmic dust coats every inch of the ground. This powder is the residue of creation, soft as flour and gray as the twilight, settling in a uniform blanket over the jagged rocks. Imagine the sensation of sinking into this deep, soft layer, feeling it rise up to cushion your weight like a memory foam made of stardust. The dust absorbs all impact and all sound, creating a muffled, padded environment where everything is soft to the touch. You are leaving an imprint in this ancient surface, a temporary mark of your presence that will be smoothed over by the next gentle shift of gravity. The feeling is one of ultimate yielding, the ground conforming to you rather than you conforming to it. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is soft and accommodating, ready to catch you and support you as you let go of your hold on the day. The trajectory leads away from the warmth and into the deep. This stone is a voyager leaving the busy inner circles of the solar system, drifting outward toward the quiet, frozen rim of the galaxy. Picture the sun shrinking behind you, becoming nothing more than a bright star in the distance, its influence fading with every passing mile. You are moving into the cooler, quieter neighborhoods of space, where the traffic of planets and comets is left far behind. The journey is one of gradual detachment, a slow release of all ties to the heat and the noise. The darkness grows deeper, the cold grows more comfortable, and the isolation becomes a luxury. You are drifting into the unknown, carried by a momentum that is steady and sure. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to leave the world behind for a while, drifting further and further out into the peaceful, dreamless expansion of the dark. Deep within the matrix of the asteroid, microscopic crystals lie in a state of suspended animation. These geometric forms have been locked in the dark since the cooling of the early universe, holding a silence that is structural and profound. The lattice of the stone is rigid and unyielding, a frozen grid that traps the cold and holds it forever. Imagine your consciousness shrinking down to walk among these towering lattices of ice and silicate, wandering through a cathedral of natural glass that has never reflected a single ray of light. The structure is perfect and still, a physical manifestation of order in the chaos of the void. You are surrounded by the stability of the mineral world, feeling the strength of the bonds that hold the atoms together in a tight, protective embrace. There is no vibration here, no shifting, only the absolute solidity of the deep earth. It is a gentle reminder that you possess an inner core of strength and stillness that remains unshaken by the noise of the surface. The air here is still and completely undisturbed by wind or breath. On this world, there is no weather to erode the peace, no storms to scatter the dust, and no breeze to chill the skin. The vacuum preserves the landscape in a state of museum-quality stillness, keeping every stone exactly where it settled millions of years ago. Picture a place where the atmosphere is so thin it is non-existent, where the silence is not just a lack of sound, but a lack of movement. You are standing in this perfect calm, feeling the absence of resistance against your body. There is no need to brace yourself against the elements, for the environment is passive and neutral. The stillness wraps around you like a second skin, holding you in a suspended moment that never breaks. You are safe in this vacuum, preserved and protected from the changing tides of the day. It is a gentle reminder that peace is a lack of disturbance, a quiet void where you can simply be without being moved. A light of twilight moves endlessly across the gray world. This is the Terminator, the soft boundary where the faint light of the distant sun surrenders to the absolute authority of the shadow. It crawls over the craters and the ridges with a slow, hypnotic inevitability, turning the gray dust into deep, invisible velvet. Imagine sitting on a high ridge and watching this tide of darkness approach, not with fear, but with a sense of welcome relief. The shadow brings the cold, and the cold brings the sleep. You watch as the light fades from the valley floor below, climbing the walls of the crater until only the peaks are lit, and then, finally, they too are extinguished. The visual world is turned off, switch by switch, leaving you in the comforting embrace of the subterranean black. It is a gentle reminder that the end of the day is a natural process of shutting down, a slow and peaceful transition into the restorative dark. Far away, the noisy worlds are just flickering points of light. From this vantage point in the deep belt, the Earth and its chaotic siblings are reduced to tiny, silent stars that offer no heat and no distraction. The distance is a physical barrier, a buffer of millions of miles of empty space that filters out the urgency of human life. Picture looking back across the vast, bioluminescent unsocial space and seeing your worries reduced to a speck of dust, too small to be seen without searching. You are removed from the fray, floating in a quiet exile that you have chosen for yourself. The isolation is luxurious, a private room in the mansion of the universe where the door has been locked from the inside. The silence of the gap between the worlds is deafening in the most soothing way. It is a gentle reminder that you can step back from your life, viewing it from a safe distance where nothing can touch you, and simply drift. Everything here is frozen in a perfect moment of time. The lack of atmosphere means there is no decay, no rust, and no aging. The rocks that tumbled yesterday will remain unchanged for an eternity. The asteroid is a monument to permanence, a library of stone where the stories are written in silence and never erased. Imagine yourself becoming like the stone, statuesque and still, unaffected by the passage of the hours. Your breathing slows to match the geological timescale, deep and infrequent, sustaining you without effort. You are a fixed point in the drifting cosmos, a heavy object that refuses to be hurried. The sense of urgency evaporates, replaced by the knowledge that there is infinite time to rest. The world waits for you, patient and enduring, asking for nothing. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to change or move or improve right now. You are allowed to simply exist, frozen in a moment of perfect peace. The backdrop is a curtain of soft and glowing dust. Behind the silhouette of the asteroid, the galaxy paints a canvas of deep violets and faint, bioluminescent greens, the remnants of ancient nebulas. This cosmic fog is thin and ghostly, blurring the sharp light of the stars into a hazy, dreamlike glow. Picture yourself floating on your back, looking up not at a hard black sky, but into this soft, colorful mist. The colors are dark and subdued, the visual equivalent of a lullaby, shifting slowly as the asteroid tumbles on its axis. You are drifting into this cloud, feeling the vaporous light wrap around you like a cool mist. The visual field softens, the focus is lost, and the eyes naturally close against the gentle wash of color. You are dissolving into the background, becoming part of the nebula. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is not just empty dark, but filled with a soft and holding presence that cradles you while you sleep. A deep presence vibrates through the floor of the cradle. It is the hum of the universe itself, the background radiation of the Big Bang echoing softly through the stone. It is a sound below the threshold of hearing, a physical sensation of vibration that travels through the dense rock and into the body. Imagine lying flat on the ground, pressing your ear to the cold stone and feeling this ancient lullaby. It is a steady, rhythmic thrum, like the engine of a great ship that is carrying you safely through the night. The vibration loosens the tension in the spine, uncoiling the muscles and inviting the heaviness to settle in. You are connected to the source of all things, plugged into the energy of the deep past. The hum is hypnotic, acoustic companion in the lonely void. It is a gentle reminder that even in the deepest silence, there is a rhythm that holds you, a steady beat that ensures you are never truly alone. The silence of the vacuum is a thickened insulating blanket. Here, without an atmosphere to carry sound, the noise of the universe is stripped away, leaving only a profound and heavy quiet that presses against the skin. Imagine the sensation of the silence wrapping around you, filling your ears with a soft, velvet pressure that blocks out all distraction. A meteor could strike the surface, and it would happen in total silence, a visual event disconnected from any auditory alarm. You are floating in this mute world where the senses are dampened and the nervous system is finally allowed to power down. The lack of sound creates a mental space that is vast and empty, a white room where thoughts simply dissolve into the airlessness. The quiet is not lonely, it is a physical weight that holds you down, deeper and deeper into the mattress of the void. It is a gentle reminder that silence is the ultimate healer, a heavy substance that seals you away from the noise of the world and allows you to rest. A faint trail of diamond dust follows the traveler. As the asteroid drifts, it sheds tiny particles of ice and rock, leaving a glittering wake that stretches out behind it for miles into the darkness. This debris moves in perfect unison with the stone, a suspended river of bioluminescent glitter that catches the weak starlight and refracts it into soft blues and grays. Picture yourself floating in this stream of dust, weightless and surrounded by millions of tiny, shining stars that are close enough to touch. They drift around you like snow in slow motion, turning and tumbling in a silent ballet that hypnotizes the eye. You are part of this flow, carried along by the momentum of the asteroid, drifting through the galaxy in a cloud of soft light. The movement is fluid and effortless, requiring no energy, only surrender. It is a gentle reminder that you can let go of the things you no longer need, leaving a trail of worries behind you as you drift forward into the peace of the night. The density of the stone creates a localized field of calm. This is not a hollow shell, but a solid mass of ancient material, compacted by the pressure of the early universe into a heavy, grounding object. Imagine feeling this density as a gravitational anchor, a heavy weight sitting on your chest that is comforting rather than oppressive. It is the feeling of a heady quilt, pressing you down into the surface, signaling to the muscles that they no longer need to hold you up. The asteroid's mass absorbs the chaotic energy of the surrounding space, creating a bubble of stability where everything is slow and heavy. You are sinking into this gravity, feeling your limbs become as heavy as lead, your eyelids drooping under the pleasant weight of the stone. The solidity of the rock beneath you is a promise that you are supported. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to become heavy, to sink down into the support of the bed, than to let gravity take over the work of holding you together. Time is marked only by the slow shifting of the shadows. There are no clocks here, only the gradual movement of darkness across the great array as the asteroid rotates away from the sun. The shadows are long and stretching, reaching out like fingers to claim the land for the night. Picture watching one specific shadow as it creeps across the crater floor, taking hours to cover a single mile. The pace is agonizingly slow, the deceleration of time that forces the mind to stop racing. You are observing the world in slow motion, where a single second stretches out into a minute, and a minute into an hour. The urgency of the day dissolves in this elongated time frame, leaving you with nothing to do but watch the dark advance. You are synchronized with this slow rhythm, your breathing deepening to match the crawl of the shadow. It is a gentle reminder that there is no rush, no deadline, and no place you need to be other than here, watching the quiet passage of time. The cold here is a deep and ancient preservation. It is a temperature that has not changed in billions of years, a profound stillness that locks every atom in place and prevents decay. This is not a biting cold, but a numbing, soothing coolness that seeps into the spaces between thoughts. Imagine this cooler settling over your forehead, a refreshing balm that draws the heat and the fever out of the mind. You are entering a state of hibernation where the metabolic fire burns low and steady, conserving energy and prolonging peace. The asteroid holds us cold in its core, radiating a steady, chilling influence that calms the surrounding space. You are wrapped in this thermal blanket, feeling the heat of the day dissipate into the vacuum, leaving you cool, heavy, and still. The sensation is one of being cleansed and quiet. It is a gentle reminder that cooling down is a way to slow down, allowing the body to enter a state of deep, suspended rest where nothing can disturb you. The horizon curves away into the infinite black. Because the asteroid is small, the horizon is close, a sharp line where the gray rock ends and the vast, starry ocean begins. Standing on this edge, you are intimately aware of the scale of the universe and your safe, small place within it. Picture looking over the curve of the world, seeing the stars rising from beneath your feet, a panoramic view of eternity that circles you on all sides. You are on a raft in the middle of a dark, bioluminescent sea, drifting without a sail. The view is hypnotic, a limitless expanse of peace that draws the eye outward and unfocuses the mind. The emptiness is not frightening, it is spacious, giving your dreams room to expand and drift. You are safe on this little island of stone, watching the galaxy turn around you. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is vast enough to hold your dreams, and you are free to cast off from the shore and float into the deep. High rhythmic wobble gently rocks the world to sleep. The asteroid does not spin perfectly, it has a slight, complex tumble, a nutation that creates a rocking sensation similar to a cradle in the deep. This movement is regular and repetitive, a cosmic sway that has persisted for eons. Imagine closing your eyes and feeling this subtle motion, a gentle tipping back and forth that massages the inner ear and lulls the brain into a trance. You are being rocked by the hands of gravity, held in a sway that is as old as the solar system. The rhythm is slow, so slow that it is almost imperceptible, but it is there, a heartbeat of motion that underpins the silence. You are surrendering to the sway, letting it carry you into the deeper wavelengths of sleep. It is a gentle reminder that you are being held and dropped by forces much larger than yourself, allowing you to let go of control and drift into the comforting rhythm of the night. Shadows, you are sharp and absolute in the vacuum. They cut across the great array like knives of darkness, dividing the world into zones of blinding silver light and deep, ink black obscurity. There is no atmosphere to scatter the light, no twilight to soften the edges, only the pure and honest contrast of the void. Imagine walking through a canyon of these silent shadows, stepping from the glare into the cool, protective shade where the temperature drops instantly. The transition is a physical relief, a heavy curtain falling to block out the visual noise. You are wrapped in a cloak of invisibility, hidden away in the deep creases of the asteroid's surface. The darkness here is a solid thing, a pool of rest that you can wade into, letting it rise up over your shoulders and head. It is a gentle reminder that you can step out of the spotlight at any moment, finding a cool and quiet corner where you are hidden from the world and free to rest. A core of cold iron sleeps beneath the desk. This heady heart pulses with a silent magnetic rhythm, a dense accumulation of metal that has survived the violent birth of the solar system. The rock above it is merely a shell, a gray blanket covering the true weight of the world. Imagine feeling this density radiating upward, a subtle but undeniable pull that encourages your body to become heavy and still. It is not a force that confines you, but one that grounds you, tethering your spirit to the deep, slow quiet of the stone. You feel the iron in your own blood slowing down, aligning with the magnetic north of this ancient traveler. The heaviness is pleasant, sinking into the mattress, sinking into the floor, sinking into the earth itself. It is a gentle reminder that beneath the shifting surface of the day, there is a solid and unmoving core where you can anchor yourself and find deep, heavy sleep. The whole world is nothing more than a blue speck. From this distance, the chaotic noise of civilization is reduced to a single, silent photon of light trembling in the vast dark. There are no voices here, no signals, no urgencies that can cross the bridge of millions of miles of vacuum. Picture yourself gazing back at that tiny point of light, realizing that everything that worries you is trapped on that speck, while you are free and floating in the quiet expanse. The distance acts as a filter, stripping away the stress and leaving only the beauty of the view. You are untethered, drifting in a zone of absolute neutrality where the problems of the world are too small to be seen. The silence of the gap between you and the blue spark is profound. It is a gentle reminder that you are allowed to distance yourself from the noise, floating far away in a place where nothing is asked of you. Loose stones hover just above the cratered ground. In this microgravity environment, heavy boulders weigh less than a feather, some of them barely touching the dust, suspended in a delicate balance. They have floated there for centuries, waiting for a nudge that never comes. Imagine reaching out and gently pushing a massive stone with the tip of your finger, watching it drift away in slow motion, turning lazily end over end. The movement is fluid and dreamlike, a heavy object behaving like a cloud. You are moving with the same weightlessness, your limbs floating free from the constraints of gravity, your head light and airy on the pillow. The physical struggle of movement is gone, replaced by a pure, effortless drift. You are part of this suspended landscape. It is a gentle reminder that the heavy burdens you carry can become weightless in the night, drifting away from you with the slightest push, leaving you free to sleep. One side of the stone faces the eternal dark. This hemisphere is turned forever away from the sun, looking out into the deepest, coldest reaches of the galactic void. It is a land of permanent midnight, where the shadows have never been lifted. Picture yourself exploring this side of the world, where the eyes can fully relax in the absence of all glare. The darkness is thick and velvety, a soothing balm that coats the mind and quiets the optic nerve. The stars you see brighter and closer, shining with a steady, bioluminescent grace that guides you without waking you. You are enveloped in a blanket of night that has no edges, a seamless cocoon of peace. The temperature is cool and stable, preserving the stillness. It is a gentle reminder that darkness is not an absence but a presence of peace, a vast and welcoming space where you are safe to close your eyes. The dust has settled into a perfect, smooth blanket. Long ago, this world knew collision and impact, but the eons have smoothed every scar into a soft, rolling dune of gray powder. The intensity of the past has been completely absorbed by the patience of the present. Imagine the slow, microscopic settling of the dust grain by grain, filling in the hollows and softening the jagged edges until everything is round and gentle. The landscape is a testament to the healing power of time. You are lying on this soft surface, feeling it contour to your body, supporting you with the accumulated patience of the universe. The quiet is absolute, the dust motionless. There is no more shaking, no more impact, only the long, deep sleep of the stone. It is a gentle reminder that all turbulence eventually fades into stillness, and you can rest now, knowing that the dust has settled and the night is calm. The path through the stars is locked in circle. This asteroid does not wander aimlessly, but follows a precise, invisible track laid down by the gravity of the sun. It returns to the same dark corners of space again and again, a reliable traveler in a chaotic universe. Imagine the comfort of being on a set course where no decisions need to be made and no steering is required. You are a passenger on this ancient vessel, carried along a smooth, silent rail of gravity that curves gently through the night. The motion is so smooth it feels like stillness, yet you know you are being carried safely forward. You can relinquish the helm, take your hands off the wheel, and simply trust the momentum. It is a gentle reminder that you are on a safe and steady course through the night. Then you can drift into sleep knowing that you will arrive safely in the morning. The dividing line between day and night crawls with glacial patience. This boundary is not a war but a slow surrender, where the heat of the star gives way to the ancient authority of the cold. Imagine standing on this shifting threshold, watching the shadows lengthen and swallow the greater rain one stone at a time. The light does not fight, it simply fades, retreating into the vacuum to leave the surface in a state of perfect, suspended grace. You are witnessing the universe sucking the world in, drawing a heavy curtain of velvet darkness across the landscape to signal the time for rest. The temperature drops, the visual noise vanishes, and the stillness deepens into a solid, impenetrable weight. You are moving with the shadow, slipping comfortably into the cool side of existence where nothing is asked of you. It is a gentle reminder that every cycle leads eventually to the quiet dark, a natural place where you can finally lay down your burden and sleep. Small, translucent crystals are hidden within the matrix of the gray rock. These ancient minerals, born in the fire of a young star, now sleep in the freezing cold of the deep void. Picture the faint, bioluminescent glimmer of olivine and pyroxene catching the weak starlight, glowing with a dull, subterranean green that feels heavy and soothing to the eyes. The structure of the stone is locked in a rigid, eternal grid, atoms holding hands across the eons in a bond that never breaks. You are shrinking down to drift among these crystal pillars, feeling the immense stability of the solid earth surrounding you on all sides. There is no vibration here, only the deep, resonant stillness of matter that has settled forever. The rock absorbs your restlessness, replacing it with the heady, cool permanence of the mineral world. It is a gentle reminder that you are built on a foundation of strength, supported by the deepened and loving earth while you drift into dreams. The atmosphere is missing, leaving the silence naked and absolute. There is no breeze to stir the dust, no rustle of air to break the concentration of the void. Imagine a place where the air is perfectly still because it does not exist, where the silence is a vacuum that preserves every moment in amber. You are standing in this breathless calm, feeling the absence of pressure against your skin, a total lack of resistance that allows you to move with the grace of a ghost. The dust lies exactly where it fell a million years ago, sleeping in a pile that will never be disturbed by a storm. The environment is passive, asking nothing, moving nothing, simply holding space for the stone to exist. You are enveloped in this static peace, feeling the stillness seep into your lungs and quiet your heart. It is a gentle reminder that peace is the absence of turbulence, a quiet void where you can remain undisturbed and perfectly still. The burning sun is reduced to a cold and distant point of light. From this far out in the belt, the roar of the solar fire is silenced by millions of miles of empty space, leaving only a polite distant star. Picture gazing at this tiny, bright spark, knowing it cannot reach you with its heat or its urgency. You are safe in the cool periphery, floating in the quiet suburbs of the solar system where the traffic of the inner planets is just a memory. The distance is a buffer, a thick layer of insulation that protects your rest from the demands of the day. You are disconnected, drifting in the shadow of the asteroid, watching the universe from a place of secret safety. The light is weak and wiry, unable to wake you. It is a gentle reminder that you have traveled far enough to be safe, leaving the noise behind to float in the peaceful exemption of the night. The ground is not hard rock, but a deep, soft ocean of dust. This regolith has been ground down by the ages into a flower-like consistency that is soft to the touch and gray as a storm cloud. Imagine lying back into this deep, powdery surface, feeling it rise up to cradle your weight, molding instantly to the shape of your body. It is the ultimate mattress, a bed of stardust that absorbs all shock and sound, leaving you suspended in a cushioned silence. The dust is cool and dry, a soothing texture that grounds the nervous system. You are sinking deeper, heavy and relaxed as the surface conforms to your need for rest. There are no sharp edges here, only the rolling dunes of gray powder that stretch to the horizon. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is capable of softness, ready to catch you and hold you gently while you surrender to sleep. A faint magnetic pulse beats in the heart of the ancient rock. It creates a subtle shield, a bubble of invisible energy that deflects the cosmic wind and creates a pocket of stillness. Picture this field as a translucent, bioluminescent aura that surrounds the asteroid, glowing with a soft, protective violet light. You are resting inside this sphere, shielded from the chaos of the open galaxy by a wall of silent physics. The energy hums softly, a lullaby of frequency that vibrates in the chest and loosens the jaw. You are safe here, held in a sanctuary that is defined not by walls, but by energy. The forces of the universe are working to keep you secure, diverting the noise around you like water around a stone. It is a gentle reminder that you are protected by unseen forces, kept safe in a quiet space where nothing can touch you but the dark. The trajectory of the stone is a perfect, patient loop through the night. It travels the same path it has traveled for eons, a circle of certainty that requires no decision and no change. Imagine surrendering your own path to this ancient orbit, letting go of the steering wheel to drift on the tracks of gravity. The movement is smooth and inevitable, a gliding sensation that carries you through the dark without effort. You are not going anywhere new, you are simply cycling through the quiet rhythm of the solar year. The repetition is soothing, a cosmic rocking motion that tells the mind it is safe to stop thinking. The destination is always peace, and the journey is always slow. It is a gentle reminder that you can trust the cycle of the night to carry you through, knowing that the sun will return only when you are fully rested. Ancient scars have softened into shallow bones of perfect dust. The craters on this world are no longer evidence of impact, but reservoirs of silence, collecting the shadows of the eons in deep, circular basins. The edges have been rounded by the slow friction of the universe, turning sharp cliffs into gentle slopes that invite the eye to rest. Imagine curling up at the bottom of one of these vast, silent bowls hidden below the horizon line of the asteroid. You are sheltered here, protected from the open glare of the galaxy by high walls of gray stone that block out the light. The dust beneath you is deep and soft, a dry ocean that conforms to your shape and absorbs all tension. The feeling is one of being cradled in the hollow of a giant hand, safe and invisible to the watching stars. It is a gentle reminder that even the deepest hollows are eventually filled with peace, providing a safe place for you to lay your head and rest. The turning world unveils the white river of the galaxy. As the asteroid rotates, the view shifts from the empty black to the dense, bioluminescent mist of the Milky Way, a cloud of stars that spans the entire field of vision. The light is not singular or harsh but diffuse, a glowing fog of ancient white that bathes the gray rock in a soft, spectral illumination. Picture this band of light moving slowly across the sky above you, a celestial ceiling that turns with the reliability of a clock. You are lying back, watching the slow procession of the stars, feeling small and comforted by the sheer scale of the display. The light blurs together into a stream of peace, washing over your eyes and signaling the brain to drift. There is no need to count the stars, only to let them blur into a soft, glowing blanket. It is a gentle reminder that you are part of a vast and beautiful whole, held safely in the stream of the cosmos while you sleep. Deep cold locks the stone in a timeless embrace. The temperature here creates a state of perfect preservation, where the heat of chaos is drained away, leaving only the stability of the frozen solid. The atoms themselves have slowed their vibration, settling into a rest that has lasted for billions of years. Imagine this sensation of cooling spreading through your own body, a refreshing wave that starts at the forehead and washes down to the tips of the toes. The fever of the day dissipates into the vacuum, replaced by a heavy, pleasant numbness that anchors you to the bed. You are becoming like the stone, cool and still, unaffected by the friction of the waking world. The cold is a preservative, keeping the peace intact and the silence unbroken. It is a gentle reminder that cooling down is a way to slow down, allowing the body to enter a state of deep, suspended hibernation where nothing can disturb you. Gravity hears a whisper that barely holds the dust. On this small world, the pull of the earth is so faint that heavy objects float with the lightness of a dream, hovering just above the ground. Stones that would be immovable on earth drift here like dandelion seeds, suspended in a delicate balance between the rock and the void. Picture yourself pushing off gently from the surface, rising slowly into the black sky in a state of pure weightlessness. The chains of gravity have been broken, and the heavy burden of the body is lifted completely. You are floating, untethered and free, drifting in the silence without effort or strain. The sensation is one of total release, a physical unburdening that allows the muscles to finally let go. You are safe in this suspension, held by the soft hand of the vacuum. It is a gentle reminder that the heavy burdens you carry are not yours to keep, and you can let them float away into the night while you rest. Colors you are muted into a palette of deep rest. The vibrant and demanding spectrum of the day is gone, replaced by the soothing tones of charcoal, slate, and deep indigo. The lack of atmosphere means there is no scattering of blue light, only the sharp, clean contrast of the sunlit gray and the shadow black. Imagine seeing the world through this filter, where everything is stripped of its intensity and reduced to its simplest, most peaceful form. The visual silence is profound, allowing the optic nerve to relax as it gazes upon the soft, monochromatic landscape. The shadows are rich and inviting, pools of dark water that you can sink into. You are bathed in this scale of grays, feeling the visual noise of the world fade into a comfortable blur. It is a gentle reminder that the dark is not empty, but a rich and restful color that wraps around you to protect your sleep. Miles of empty space create a perfect barrier of peace. The asteroid floats in a quarantine of silence, separated from the nearest planet by an ocean of nothingness that is too vast to comprehend. This distance acts as a shield, ensuring that no signal, no voice, and no demand can ever bridge the gap. Picture the sheer scale of this isolation, a buffer zone of vacuum that surrounds you on all sides for millions of miles. You are unreachable, tucked away in a secret pocket of the solar system where the phone never rings and the world never calls. The feeling is one of luxurious privacy, a solitude that is chosen and safe. You are drifting in the gap, protected by the light years. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to disconnect completely, placing a vast distance between yourself and the world so that you may drift into the quiet. The journey has no end and requires no arrival. This ancient stone is not traveling toward a destination, it is simply drifting, caught in a loop of existence that has no goal other than to be. There is no finish line to cross, no schedule to keep, and no progress to be measured. Imagine adopting this mindset of aimless drifting, letting go of the need to achieve or to get somewhere. You are simply floating, carried by the inertia of the universe through the beautiful dark. The pressure to do is replaced by the permission to be. You are a passenger on a ship that sails forever in calm waters, watching the galaxy pass by without a care. The movement is circular and soothing, a rocking motion that leads only to more peace. It is a gentle reminder that there is nothing you need to do right now, nowhere you need to go, and you are free to simply exist in the comfort of your sleep. The deep interior of the stone is a place of absolute finality. There are no shifting plates here, no molten core to rumble or shake, only the solid silence of rock that cooled eons ago. Imagine your consciousness sinking past the crust, down into the dense, unmoving center of the world where the stone is packed tight against the dark. It is a place where vibration goes to die, absorbed instantly by the sheer density of the material. You are encased in this heavy stability, feeling the weight of the mountain pressing in to hold you still, not to crush but to secure. The stillness is ancient and contagious, freezing the restless energy of the mind and replacing it with the heavy inertia of iron. You are grounded in a way that feels permanent, anchored to the dark history of the solar system. It is a gentle reminder that deep down, beneath the surface noise, there is a core of silence within you that remains forever undisturbed and at peace. Starlight falls upon the surface like a fine, silver mist. In the absence of an atmosphere, the light does not scatter but touches the ground with a direct and gentle clarity, highlighting the curves of the silent craters. Picture this faint illumination washing over the great dust, turning the landscape into a soft, monochrome dream of shadows and silver. You are lying under this canopy of weak light, watching the slow rotation of the galaxy above, a wheel of diamond dust turning in the deep black. The light is cool to the touch, visual water that cleanses the eyes of the day's bright colors. It offers enough visibility to feel safe, but enough darkness to feel hidden. You are bathed in the glow of the cosmos, a bioluminescent shine that connects you to the ancient past. It is a gentle reminder that even in the darkest night, there is always a soft and guiding light to watch over you while you sleep. Momentum carries the traveler forward without a single sound. There is no engine pushing the stone, no effort exerted to maintain the speed. It simply drifts on the breath of an ancient launch. Imagine the feeling of this effortless motion, a smooth and frictionless glide through the vacuum that requires no energy from you. You are a passenger on a vessel that has no captain and needs none, for the path is written in the laws of gravity. The sensation is one of being carried in a strong current, floating on your back while the river takes you exactly where you need to go. You can stop rowing, stop steering, and simply let the inertia of the universe handle the journey. The movement is steady and reliable, a promise of forward motion that continues while you rest. It is a gentle reminder that you can release your grip on the controls, trusting the flow of the night to carry you safely through to the morning. A long cone of shadow trails behind the stone like a dark cloak. This umber stretches out for miles into the void, a zone of absolute exclusion where the sunlight is completely blocked by the body of the asteroid. Picture yourself slipping into this wake of darkness, floating in the space behind the rock where the temperature drops and the stars seem to burn brighter. You are hidden here, invisible to the sun, protected by the mass of the stone from the glare of the day. The shadow is a physical space, a sanctuary of cool air and silence that trails the traveler wherever it goes. You are wrapped in this trailing night, safe in the lee of the stone, drifting in the quietest wake of the solar system. The darkness feels heavy and soft, like a blanket pulled up to the chin. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to hide away for a while, resting in the cool shadow where the world cannot see you. Nothing decays in the vacuum of the deep. The silence here is a preservative, keeping the dust in the stone in a state of perfect, suspended animation for eternity. Imagine a world where nothing ever breaks down, where the moment you are in right now stretches out to last for a billion years. You are entering this timeless state, feeling the urgency of the clock dissolve into the ether. The rock you see today is the same rock that existed at the dawn of time, and it will be the same when the stars burn out. This permanence is comforting, a solid foundation in a life of constant change. You are becoming as still as the stone, your breathing slowing to match the geological pause of the environment. The pressure to change or improve evaporates. It is a gentle reminder that you are perfect as you are, and you are allowed to exist in a state of permanent, peaceful rest without moving a muscle. The slow tumble of the world is a lullaby in motion. The asteroid rotates with a heavy, deliberate grace, turning its face from the dark to the light and back again in a cycle that takes hours to complete. Picture the horizon dipping and rising in a slow-motion seesaw against the backdrop of the Milky Way. You are lying on the surface, feeling the gentle shift of gravity as the world turns beneath you. It is a rocking motion, massive and silent, like the swaying of a great ship on a calm ocean. You are synchronized with this rotation, your body accepting the slow rhythm as its own. The stars streak by in lazy lines, blurring into a canopy of sleep. The movement is not chaotic but inevitable, a soothing repetition that demands nothing. It is a gentle reminder that the universe has a rhythm of rest and activity, and you are currently in the deep, slow swing of the rest cycle. The emptiness of space is a supportive medium. It is not a lack of substance, but a vast, invisible ocean that holds the stars in their places and carries the dust on its currents. Imagine resting your weight against this void, feeling it hold you up with the strength of infinite distance. There is no floor to hit, no ceiling to bump, only the endless, cushioning dark that surrounds you on all sides. You are suspended in the center of a great peace, a bubble of silence that extends forever. The feeling is one of total buoyancy, where the concept of falling is replaced by the concept of floating. You are safe in the open palm of the galaxy, held securely by the nothingness. The quiet presses in against you, soft and heavy. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to hold yourself up, for the vast embrace of the night is strong enough to carry you. A faint charge lifts the dust into a silent hover. On this low-gravity world, the smallest particles of regolith are charged by the solar wind, causing them to float just inches above the ground in a ghostly, levitating carpet. Imagine lying down beneath a suspended layer, watching the microscopic grains dance and shimmer in the weak light like a ceiling of stars brought down to Earth. The movement is fluid and hypnotic, a silent vibration of matter that refuses to settle. You are breathing in the visual rhythm of this levitation, feeling a sympathetic lightness spreading through your own lens. The heavy pull of the Earth is a distant memory here, replaced by this delicate, electrostatic drift. The dust glows with a faint, bioluminescent aura, casting a soft, violet light on your face that feels cool and cleansing. It is a gentle reminder that even the heaviest things can be made light, allowing you to float free from the gravity of your worries and drift in the air. The horizon is a jagged line drawn by a steady hand. Because the world is so small, the curvature is visible and dramatic, dropping away quickly to reveal the vast, bottomless depth of the universe beyond. Picture standing on a high ridge, looking over the edge of the world into the infinite drop of the cosmos. There is no vertigo here, only a sense of awe at the sheer scale of the emptiness that supports the stone. You are balanced on the edge of the night, safe on solid ground, but close enough to touch the void. The blackness is not a wall, but an open door, expanding outward in every direction to offer you room to breathe. The stars wrap around the stone, cradling it in a sphere of light. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is open and spacious, giving you all the room you need to expand your mind and dissolve into the deep rest of the vacuum. Deep silence is trapped inside the porous rock. The asteroid is not a solid block, but a collection of ancient rubble, filled with microscopic gaps and caverns where the vacuum has hidden for billions of years. Imagine your awareness filtering down into these tiny spaces, finding a quiet so profound that it feels like a physical embrace. The noise of the universe cannot penetrate this deep, complex maze of stone and shadow. You are insulated by miles of rock, wrapped in a cocoon of geological silence that absorbs every vibration. The air is still, the atoms are slow, and the darkness is absolute. You are safe in the intricate architecture of the stone, hidden away in a place that has never known the disturbance of sound. It is a gentle reminder that you have deep, inner reserves of silence that you can retreat to, finding a quiet space within yourself that is always waiting to receive you. The rotation carries the stone through a river of invisible wind. The solar stream flows constantly past the asteroid, a silent gale of charged particles that washes over the surface without ever stirring a single grain of dust. Picture this stream as a bioluminescent mist, a ghost current that flows through the vacuum and bathes the rock in a wash of purifying energy. You are floating in this stream, feeling it pass through you like a cool breeze, carrying away the static and the stress of the day. The sensation is ethereal and cleansing, a spiritual bath in the deep waters of the solar system. The asteroid turns its face into the stream, accepting the flow with a passive grace. You are learning from the stone, allowing the currents of life to move past you without resistance. It is a gentle reminder that you can let the world flow through you and around you, remaining still and untouched in the center of the stream. A profound shade of blue deepens the shadows. As the eyes adjust to the lack of sun, the darkness takes on a rich, midnight hue, a color that is felt as much as it is seen. Imagine this deep indigo settling over the landscape, painting the gray rocks in a wash of cool, calming tone. It is the color of deep ocean water, heavy and pressurized, pressing against the temples to soothe the mind. You are swimming in this visual depth, diving down into the blue-black pools of shadow that collect in the craters. The light is filtered and dim, removing all glare and leaving only the softest frequencies for the eyes to process. The world is soft, dark, and aquatic in its stillness. You are submerged in a piece of the color. It is a gentle reminder that the night is a deep and cooling ocean, and you are free to dive down to the bottom where the waters are still and the sleep is deep. The permanence of the stone is a soothing anchor. In a universe of exploding stars and swirling nebulas, this asteroid is a monument to stability, a heavy object that changes for no one. Imagine pressing your hand against the rough, gold surface, feeling the unyielding strength of rock that has survived since the beginning. There is a transfer of stability, a grounding energy that flows from the stone into your palm and up your arm, settling the beating of your heart. You are borrowing the patience of the mountain, adopting its heavy, silent nature as your own. The rock does not worry about the future, it simply exists, solid and sure. You are becoming as heavy and as permanent as the ground beneath you. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to be flexible or fast right now. You can be still, solid, and immovable, anchored safely in the harbor of the night. The path leads eventually to the outer dark. The orbit of this stone takes it far from the warmth of the sun, out into the frozen, quiet reaches of the belt where the silence is thickest. Picture the journey as a slow drift away from the fire, moving deeper and deeper into the cool relief of the shadow. You are watching the sun grow smaller, feeling the heat fade from your skin, replaced by the comfortable chill of the deep void. The further you travel, the quieter it becomes until even the memory of noise is left behind. You are an explorer of the quiet, venturing to the edge of the known world to find a place of absolute rest. The momentum is steady, carrying you away from the demands of the light. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to retreat, to move away from the warmth and the noise, and to find your rest in the cool, distant corners of the dark. A microscopic silence covers the ancient ground. The dust grains here have settled into a pattern that has not shifted since the birth of the stars, walking together in a stillness that is absolute. Imagine shrinking down to walk among these tiny hills of gray powder, observing the perfect, undisturbed geometry of the soil. There's no wind to scatter them, no vibration to shake them loose. They are held in a permanent embrace by the weak gravity and the strong silence. The texture is soft and uniform, a carpet of cosmic flower that dampens every potential sound. You are standing in a world where the concept of disturbance has been forgotten, replaced by a deepened structural peace. The stillness is not just around you, it is moving through you, slowing the vibration of your own thoughts to match the geologic patience of the ground. It is a gentle reminder that even the smallest things can find a place of permanent rest, settling down into a quiet pattern that never needs to change. The horizon turns to reveal a curtain of soft light. As the asteroid tumbles, it brings into view a distant nebula, a cloud of interstellar gas that glows with a faint, bioluminescent green. Picture the celestial mist hanging in the black sky, a slow-moving river of color that looks like a painted dream. The light is not bright enough to wake you. It is a dim, submarine glow that washes over the gray rock and softens the sharp edges of the craters. You are watching this visual lullaby, letting the soft greens and tea less hypnotize the mind and heavy the eyelids. The colors shift imperceptibly, a slow dance of gas and dust that takes centuries to unfold. You are bathed in this ancient light, feeling it cool the skin and quiet the pulse. It is a gentle reminder that the universe paints beautiful and soothing things in the dark, creating a peaceful backdrop that watches over you while you drift into sleep. A heavy anchor pulls from the center of the world. Deep beneath the crust, the iron heart of the asteroid waits in the cold dark, generating a silent field of gravity that holds the world together. Imagine connecting with this dense, metallic core, feeling a sensation of heaviness spreading through your limbs, as if you are made of the same ancient iron. It is a grounding force, pulling you down gently but firmly into the support of the surface. You are not floating away, you are being held, anchored by the mass of the stone against the drift of the void. The weight is comforting, a heavy blanket of physics that tells your muscles they can stop working. You are sinking into the gravity, becoming one with the slow, heavy spin of the object. It is a gentle reminder that deep within, there is a center of gravity that keeps you steady and grounded, allowing you to rest without fear of drifting too far. Clocks have no meaning in this silent void. The passage of time is not measured in minutes or hours, but in the slow, rhythmic darkening of the stone as it turns away from the sun. Picture the sensation of stepping out of the stream of time, leaving the ticking clocks and the schedules far behind you on a distant world. You are entering a zone of timelessness where the present moment stretches out to encompass eternity. The rock under your feet has not changed in a billion years, and it will not change tonight. There is no urgency here, no deadline approaching, only the endless, patient drift of matter through space. You are freezing the moment, holding it in a state of perfect suspension where nothing is required of you. It is a gentle reminder that you are allowed to pause, to stop counting the minutes, and to simply exist in a timeless state of rest where the night lasts as long as you need. Deep shadows offer a sanctuary of perfect cool. On the dark side of the asteroid, the craters are filled with a blackness so thick it feels like a liquid pooling in the basins and waiting to receive you. Imagine sliding down the gentle slope of a crater wall, slipping into this pool of shadow like a swimmer entering a dark, quiet lake. The darkness rises up to cover you, cooling the skin and silencing the mind. It is a sensory deprivation handbuilt by nature, stripping away the light and the noise until only peace remains. You are floating in this shadow, weightless and invisible, protected by the rim of the crater from the rest of the universe. The silence is heavy and pressurized, squeezing the tension out of the body. It is a gentle reminder that darkness is a substance of healing, a cool and heavy medium that washes over you to prepare the mind for a deep and dreamless sleep. The drift is smoother than the calm sea. There's no friction in the vacuum, no resistance to slow the movement of the stone as it sails through the night. Imagine the feeling of this perfect, uninterrupted glide, a motion so smooth that it feels like stillness. You are a passenger on this silent ship, moving through the galaxy without a bump or a tremor. The momentum is ancient, a force that was set in motion at the beginning of time and has never wavered. You can trust this motion, you can lean back into it and let it carry you. There is no need to steer, for the path is clear and the water is deep. You are dissolving into the inertia, letting the forward motion of the universe take the weight of your life. It is a gentle reminder that you can stop pushing and just coast, allowing the smooth momentum of the night to carry you safely to the other side. The noise of the living world is far behind. Millions of miles of vacuum create a perfect soundproof barrier between you and the chaotic energy of the inner planets. Picture the Earth as a tiny, silent blue star in the distance, too far away to be heard, too small to be significant. You have crossed the Great Divide, finding a place of exile that is quiet and safe. The distance acts as a filter, stripping away the urgency of human voices and the electronic signals, leaving only the pure, static hiss of the universe. You are alone in the best possible way, insulated by the vastness, wrapped in a cocoon of light years. The isolation is a luxury, a private space where you can finally hear the sound of your own slowing breath. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to distance yourself from the noise, retreating to a place where the silence is vast enough to swallow every worry. A faint shimmer dances across the silent plains. The dust on this world is not merely gray but crystalline, catching the weak light of the distant stars and refracting it into a soft bioluminescent glitter. Imagine lying flat on the sea of diamond dust, watching the tiny sparks flicker and fade with the slow rotation of the asteroid. The movement is so subtle it feels like a breathing chest, rising and falling in the deep dark. You are surrounded by a galaxy of microscopic lights, a mirror of the cosmos that rests just inches from your eyes. The ground feels cool and soft, a bed of crushed starlight that supports your weight without resistance. The visual rhythm is slow and hypnotic, a twinkling that slows the mind and heavy the eyelids. You are floating in a field of stars, both above and below, suspended in a universe of soft light. It is a gentle reminder that even in the deepest shadow, there is a soft and guiding light that surrounds you, keeping you safe while you rest. The silence here is a physical weight. It is not just an absence of noise, but a heavy, pressurized substance that fills every crevice of the stone and every corner of the mind. Imagine this deep silence pouring over you like a thick, cool liquid, dampening the senses and muffling the thoughts. You are submerged in the quiet, floating at the bottom of a deep, dark ocean where sound cannot travel. The pressure is comforting, a swaddle that holds you tight and prevents the intrusion of the waking world. There is no wind to whistle, no engine to hum, only the profound, ringing stillness of the void. You are safe in this mute environment, where the nervous system is finally allowed to shut down completely. The silence wraps around your head like a soft bandage, healing the noise of the day. It is a gentle reminder that silence is a protective force, a heavy blanket that seals you away from the world and allows you to drift into deep sleep. The path is a circle of perfect patience. This asteroid follows a track laid down at the dawn of time, a loop that circles the sun in a rhythm measured in centuries. Imagine surrendering to this inevitable motion, letting go of the steering wheel and allowing the gravity of the solar system to carry you. There's no need to make decisions here, no need to navigate, for the course is set and the rails are smooth. You are a passenger on the longest journey, gliding through the velvet dark with a momentum that never fades. The sensation is one of being carried, a smooth and frictionless slide that requires no effort. You can feel the inertia in your bones, a heavy, soothing force that pulls you forward into the night. The repetition of this cycle is a lullaby, a promise that the morning will come without your help. It is a gentle reminder that you can trust the flow of the night to carry you safely through, requiring nothing from you but your rest. Deep shadows offer a sanctuary of cool air. In the basins of the polar craters, the sun has not shone for 1 billion years, creating a reservoir of permanent night. Imagine slipping down the slope into one of these dark pools, feeling the temperature drop instantly as the shadow rises up to cover you. The cold is crisp and preserving, a stillness that slows the heart and cools the blood. You are hidden here, invisible to the rest of the galaxy, tucked away in a pocket of absolute privacy. The darkness is thick and opaque, blocking out the stars and leaving you in a void of pure rest. The rock walls rise up around you, shielding you from the solar wind and the cosmic glare. You are safe in the womb of the stone, held in a suspended state of hibernation. It is a gentle reminder that darkness is a safe harbor, a place where you can retreat to find the deepest and most restorative slumber. Gravity here is a whisper of a touch. The pull of the asteroid is so faint that it feels more like a suggestion than a force, allowing heavy things to float with a dreamlike grace. Imagine pushing gently off the ground and rising into the black sky, your body weightless and free. You are suspended in the vacuum, drifting like a leaf on a slow river, turning gently in the silence. The tension in the muscles evaporates, for there is nothing to hold up, nothing to carry. You are floating in a state of perfect equilibrium, neither falling nor rising, just existing in the space between the worlds. The dust floats with you, a cloud of gray companions that shimmer in the starlight. The sensation is one of total release, a physical unburdening that leaves you light and empty. It is a gentle reminder that the heavy burdens you carry are not yours to keep, and you can let them float away into the night while you rest. Colors have faded into a peaceful gray. The visual spectrum here is limited to the soothing tones of slate, charcoal, and deep obsidian, stripping away the vibrant chaos of the waking world. Imagine opening your eyes to a landscape that asks nothing of your attention, a soft, monochromatic blur that rests the optic nerve. The light is dim and filtered, casting long, soft shadows that blend the ground into the sky. You are bathed in this world of shadow and stone, where everything is muted and calm. There are no flashing lights, no alarms, only the steady, unmoving presence of the ancient rock. The lack of color creates a mental quiet, a blank canvas where the mind can finally stop processing. You are sinking into the gray, feeling it wrap around you like a heavy wool blanket. It is a gentle reminder that the night is a time for fading, a time to let the colors of the day dissolve into the restful dark. A vast ocean of nothingness separates you. The distance between this quiet stone and the noisy world you left behind is measured in light years of empty, silent vacuum. Picture looking back across the deep abyss and seeing the earth as a tiny, flickering spark too far away to touch you. You are insulated by the distance, protected by a barrier of space that swallows all noise and urgency. The problems of the day are trapped on that distant speck, while you are free and floating in the vast extension of the belt. The silence of the gap is profound, a physical buffer that ensures your privacy. You are alone in the best possible way, drifting in a sanctuary that is defined by its remoteness. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to disconnect completely, placing a vast and unbridgeable distance between yourself and the world so that you may drift into the quiet. The ceiling of the world is a river of silent light. As the asteroid slowly rotates, the dark curtain of space is pulled back to reveal the dense, glowing band of the Milky Way stretching from horizon to horizon to horizon. Imagine lying back against the cool stone and watching this river of stars flow silently above you, a stream of ancient white dust that has been frozen in time. The light is not bright enough to wake you, but soft and bioluminescent, a spectral glow that bathes the greater rain in a wash of silver. You are a passenger beneath this cosmic canopy, watching the galaxy turn with a heavy, deliberate grace. The sheer number of stars blurs into a soft mist, a visual white noise that calms the mind and signals the eyes to close. You are drifting under the watchful gaze of a billion distant suns. It is a gentle reminder that you are part of a vast and beautiful whole, held safely in the stream of the cosmos while you sleep. A core of heavy iron anchors the world in the dark. Deep beneath the crater crust, a dense heart of metal waits in the cold silence, providing the gravity that holds the stone together. Imagine your awareness sinking down through the layers of gray rock, past the dust and the silence to connect with this heavy, unmoving center. There is a profound sense of stability here, a magnetic weight that pulls you gently downward and secures you against the drift. You feel the density of the iron in your own bones, a grounding force that slows the heart and settles the nerves. The rock is solid, ancient, and immovable, a foundation that has lasted since the birth of the solar system. You are anchored by this weight, held firm in the middle of the void. It is a gentle reminder that deep within, there is a center of gravity that keeps you steady and grounded, allowing you to rest without fear of drifting too far. The air is still because the wind has never blown here. On this world, there is no weather to erode the peace, no storms to scatter the dust, and no breeze to chill the skin. The vacuum preserves the landscape in a state of museum-quality stillness, keeping every stone exactly where it settled millions of years ago. Picture a place where the atmosphere is so thin it is non-existent, where the silence is not just a lack of sound but a lack of movement. You are standing in this perfect calm, feeling the absence of pressure against your body. There is no need to brace yourself against the elements, for the environment is passive and neutral. The stillness wraps around you, like a second skin, holding you in a suspended moment that never breaks. You are safe in this vacuum, preserved and protected from the changing tides of the day. It is a gentle reminder that peace is a lack of disturbance, a quiet void where you can remain undisturbed and perfectly still. The edge of the stone meets the infinite velvet of space. There is a sharp boundary where the solid ground ends and the vast, empty ocean of the void begins. Standing at this precipice, looking out into the deep, there is no fear, only a sense of awe at the sheer scale of the nothingness. Imagine floating just off the edge of the cliff, suspended in the transition between form and emptiness. The silence here is expansive, rushing out to fill the gap between the galaxies, pulling your thoughts out of your head and scattering them like dust. You are tethered, drifting free from the land, floating in the zero-gravity embrace of the vacuum. The separation between you and the universe dissolves, and you become part of the dark, expanding space. It is a gentle reminder that boundaries are soft and permeable, allowing you to drift across the line into the vast, dreamless territory of sleep. The path leads away from the fire and into the cool. This stone is a voyager leaving the busy inner circles of the solar system, drifting outward toward the quiet, frozen rim of the galaxy. Picture the sun shrinking behind you, becoming nothing more than a bright star in the distance, its influence fading with every passing mile. You are moving into the cooler, quieter neighborhoods of space, where the traffic of planets and comets is left far behind. The journey is one of gradual detachment, a slow release of all ties to the heat and the noise. The darkness grows deeper, the cold grows more comfortable, and the isolation becomes a luxury. You are drifting into the unknown, carried by a momentum that is steady and sure. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to leave the world behind for a while, drifting further and further out into the peaceful, dreamless expansion of the dark. Deep drifts of powder soften every jagged edge of the stone. Over billions of years, the slow rain of cosmic dust has filled the hollows and coated the peaks, turning the landscape into a rolling sea of gray flour. Imagine the sensation of sinking into this deep, soft layer, feeling it rise up to cushion your weight like a memory foam made of stardust. The dust absorbs all impact and all sound, creating a muffled, padded environment where everything is soft to the touch. You are leaving an imprint in this ancient surface, a temporary mark of your presence that will be smoothed over by the next gentle shift of gravity. The feeling is one of ultimate yielding, the ground conforming to you rather than you conforming to it. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is soft and accommodating, ready to catch you and support you as you let go of your hold on the day. Distant suns offer a faint and ghostly illumination to the ground. The light that reaches this far-flung traveler is weak and watery, filtered through light years of dust and time. It does not burn or glare. Instead, it paints the rock in a wash of bioluminescent and silver, a spectral glow that highlights the texture of the ground without waking the eye. Picture the soft radiance bathing your face, a moonlight that is cold and calming, stripping away the colors of the day and leaving only the peaceful monochrome of the night. The shadows it casts are long and soft-edged, blurring the definition of the world until everything looks like a dream. You are watching the galaxy reflect off the frozen stone, a mirror of the cosmos that shines with a quiet inner light. It is a gentle reminder that even in the deepest dark, there is a soft and guiding light that watches over you, keeping the nightmares at bay. A shadow moves across the stone with infinite patience. This is the Terminator line, the boundary where the weak light of the sun gives way to the absolute authority of the deep space night. Imagine sitting on a ridge and watching this wall of darkness approach, moving with a slow, geological inevitability that cannot be hurried or stopped. The darkness is not empty but rich and heavy, a velvet curtain that is being drawn across the stage of the world to signal the end of the show. As the shadow crosses the rock, the temperature drops instantly, sealing the surface in a cool, preserving stillness. You are allowing the shadow to cross over you, feeling the heat of the day dissipate into the vacuum, leaving only the pleasant, heavy sensation of the dark. The visual world is turned off, switch by switch, crater by crater, until everything is quiet. It is a general reminder that the night is an inevitable and welcoming force, always arriving to cover you in peace and allow the waking world to fade. The silence of the vacuum is a thick and insulating blanket. A year without an atmosphere to carry the vibration of sound, the noise of the universe is stripped away, leaving only a profound and heavy quiet that presses against the skin. Imagine the sensation of this silence wrapping around you, filling your ears with a soft, velvet pressure that blocks out all distraction and worry. A meteor could strike the surface, and it would happen in total silence, a visual event disconnected from any auditory alarm. You are floating in this mute world, where the senses are dampened and the nervous system is finally allowed to power down completely. The lack of sound creates a mental space that is vast and empty, a white room where thoughts simply dissolve into the airlessness. The quiet is not lonely, it is a physical weight that holds you down, deeper and deeper into the mattress of the void. It is a gentle reminder that silence is the ultimate healer, a heavy substance that seals you away from the noise of the world and allows you to rest. A faint gravity holds the dust in a loose embrace. On this small world, the pull of the earth is so faint that heavy objects float with the lightness of a dream, hovering just above the ground in a state of suspension. Imagine pushing gently off the surface and rising slowly into the black sky, your body weightless and free from the chains of the earth. You are suspended in the vacuum, drifting like a leaf on a slow, dark river, turning gently in the silence without effort. The tension in the muscles evaporates, for there is nothing to hold up, nothing to carry, and nothing to push against. You are floating in a state of perfect equilibrium, neither falling nor rising, just existing in the space between the worlds. The dust floats with you, a cloud of gray companions that shimmer in the starlight. It is a gentle reminder that the heavy burdens you carry are not yours to keep, and you can let them float away into the night while you rest. The rotation is a promise kept for billions of years. This stone follows a path that was laid out at the dawn of time, a loop that never wavers and never ends, circling the dark heart of the solar system. Imagine surrendering to this inevitable path, allowing yourself to be carried along the track of time without needing to steer or decide the direction. There is a freedom in this determinism, a release of control as you realize the universe is handling the navigation for you. You are simply a passenger, dissolving into the motion, trusting the momentum to carry you through the night. The repetition is hypnotic, a soothing cycle that lulls the conscious mind into submission. The asteroid turns, the stars rise, the stars set, and the peace remains constant. It is a gentle reminder that you can trust the flow of the night to carry you safely through to the morning, requiring nothing from you but your trust and your sleep. Deep drifts of powder soften every jagged edge. Over billions of years, the slow rain of cosmic dust has filled the hollows and coated the peaks, turning the landscape into a rolling sea of gray flour. Imagine the sensation of sinking into this deep, soft layer, feeling it rise up to cushion your weight like a memory foam made of stardust. The dust absorbs all impact and all sound, creating a muffled, padded environment where everything is soft to the touch and cool to the skin. You are leaving an imprint in this ancient surface, a temporary mark of your presence that will be smoothed over by the next gentle shift of gravity. The feeling is one of ultimate yielding, the ground conforming to you rather than you conforming to it. There is no resistance here, only support. It is a gentle reminder that the universe is soft and accommodating, ready to catch you and support you as you let go of your hold on the day. The distance from the sun creates a sanctuary of cool. This world floats in the outer belt, far removed from the heat and the fire of the inner solar system, drifting in the perpetual twilight of deep space. Picture the sun shrinking behind you, becoming nothing more than a bright star in the distance, its influence fading with every passing mile. You are moving into the cooler, quieter neighborhoods of space where the traffic of planets and comets is left far behind. The journey is one of gradual detachment, a slow release of all ties to the heat and the noise. The darkness grows deeper, the cold grows more comfortable, and the isolation becomes a luxury. You are drifting into the unknown, carried by a momentum that is steady and sure. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to leave the world behind for a while, drifting further and further out into the peaceful, dreamless expansion of the dark. The core of heavy iron anchors the world in the dark. Deep beneath the cratered crust, a dense heart of metal waits in the cold silence, providing the gravity that holds the stone together against the void. Imagine your awareness sinking down through the layers of gray rock, past the dust and the silence, to connect with this heavy, unmoving center. There is a profound sense of stability here, a magnetic weight that pulls you gently downward and secures you against the drift. You feel the density of the iron in your own bones, a grounding force that slows the heart and settles the nerves. The rock is solid, ancient, and immovable, a foundation that has lasted since the birth of the solar system. You are anchored by this weight, held firm in the middle of the void. It is a gentle reminder that deep within, there is a center of gravity that keeps you steady and grounded, allowing you to rest without fear of drifting too far. A fracture runs deep into the silent heart of the stone. This great fissure was opened eons ago by the cooling of the crust, creating a canyon of absolute shadow that cuts through the gray landscape like a river of ink. The walls of this chasm are steep and smooth, protecting the bottom from the faint light of the stars and preserving a pocket of eternal night. Imagine drifting slowly down into this deep crevice, feeling the walls rise up on either side to block out the galaxy. You are descending into the earth, moving closer to the heavy, silent center of the world. The darkness here is not empty, it is a thick, velvet substance that wraps around you, insulating you from the vacuum above. The air is still, the silence is compressed, and the feeling is one of profound security. It is a gentle reminder that you can retreat into the deep, hidden places of your own mind, finding a sanctuary where the world cannot follow you. Billions of stars reflect off the frozen dust. The surface of the asteroid acts as a dark mirror to the cosmos, catching the light of the Milky Way and scattering it across the plains in a soft, bioluminescent shimmer. The light is not uniform, but broken into a million tiny points of silver, a glittering carpet that shifts and sparkles with the slow rotation of the rock. Picture yourself floating above this sea of diamonds, watching the ground twinkle in a slow, rhythmic code of silence. The visual effect is mesmerizing, a soothing distraction that draws the focus away from thoughts and into the beauty of the moment. The light is cool and distant, offering a sense of perspective without the heat of the sun. You are bathed in starlight, suspended between the glowing dust below and the glowing stars above. It is a gentle reminder that even in the darkest night, there is beauty to be found, a soft and guiding light that watches over your rest. The world turns with a gyroscopic stability. There is no wobble in this rotation, only a smooth and perfect spin that has maintained its axis for billions of years. The momentum is massive and silent, a force of physics that keeps the stone steady as it sails through the void. Imagine feeling the stability in your own body, the sense of balance that cannot be shaken or tipped. You are locked into the rhythm of the universe, turning slowly with the stars in a cycle that feels eternal. The movement is so consistent that it feels like stillness, a perpetual motion that requires no effort to sustain. You can lean into this turn, trusting the gravity and the momentum to hold you upright. The world spins on, confident and calm. It is a gentle reminder that you possess an inner balance that remains steady regardless of the chaos around you, allowing you to stay centered while you sleep. Heat has long since left this wandering stone. The asteroid is a monument to the cold, a solid object that has released all its thermal energy into the vacuum, settling into a temperature of deep preservation starlight. This is not a biting frost, but a clean, absolute zero that stops all decay and holds the world in a state of suspended animation. Picture this coolness settling over you, a refreshing wave that draws the inflammation and the heat out of the tired muscles. You are becoming like the rock, cool and solid, your metabolism slowing down to match the pace of the deep space winter. The cold is a preservative, a stillness that keeps the peace intact. You are wrapped in a thermal blanket of void, protected from the fever of the day. It is a gentle reminder that cooling down is a way to slow down, helping the body to enter a state of hibernation where true restoration can begin. A distant traveler passes in total silence. Far out in the black, a comet drifts by on its own lonely trajectory, a ghostly streak of white against the dark canvas. There is no sound to mark its passing, only the slow, visual slide of the object through the stars. Imagine watching this silent meeting of two ancient voyagers, observing the comet as it trails along, bioluminescent in its tail of ice and dust. You are a witness to the quiet movements of the universe, seeing the traffic of the cosmos flow without noise or collision. The comet does not stop, it simply glides past, a fleeting moment of beauty that fades back into the night. You are detached, observing without participating, letting the events of the universe unfold at a distance. It is a gentle reminder that you can watch your thoughts drift by like distant comets, acknowledging them without needing to hold on to them, letting them fade into the silence. Invisible lines of force wrap the stone in safety. A weak magnetic field surrounds the asteroid, generated by the heavy metals in its core, creating a subtle bubble of protection against the solar wind. Picture this field as a soft, violet aura that glows faintly in the dark, a spiritual shield that encompasses the world. You are resting inside this bubble, feeling the hum of the energy as it deflects the invisible storms of space. The sensation is one of being held in a sanctuary, a designated safe zone where the harsh realities of the vacuum cannot enter. The energy is calm and rhythmic, a pulsing barrier that keeps the peace and the noise out. You are safe here, guarded by the fundamental forces of nature. It is a gentle reminder that you are protected by unseen layers of safety, allowing you to lower your defenses and surrender completely to the vulnerability of sleep. The destination is the infinite quiet of the void. This stone is drifting away from the crowded center of the solar system, moving outward toward the edge of interstellar space where the stars are few and the silence is deep. Imagine the relief of leaving the busy world behind, carried by a steady momentum into the vast open ocean of the night. The further you go, the quieter it becomes, until the only sound is the sound of your own peace. You are dissolving into this vastness, becoming a speck of consciousness in a sea of dark matter. There is no map here, no schedule, and no expectation. You are simply floating, carried by the dark current to a place of absolute rest. The emptiness is not lonely, it is spacious and welcoming. It is a gentle reminder that you have permission to disappear for a while, drifting off the map into the healing, dreamless expanse of the deep. The line between day and night is a moving wall of silence. It advances across the great arraign with a glacial slowness, claiming the landscape for the shadow one stone at a time. The transition is not violent but inevitable, a soft extinguishing of the light that leaves the world in a state of cool preservation. Imagine standing on this shifting boundary, watching the harsh silver glare of the sun fade into the soothing velvet of the deep dark. The temperature drops around you, a physical weight of cold that presses the eyelids down and signals the body to rest. You are moving with the night, slipping comfortably into the shadow where the eyes can finally relax. The details of the craters blur and vanish, swallowed by the comforting obscurity of the void. It is a gentle reminder that the end of the day is a natural place of safety, a closing of the curtain that allows you to rest in the dark. The silence here is a substance thicker than water. It fills the space between the stars and wraps around the stone in a heavy, insulating blanket that muffles every vibration. There is no air to carry a whisper, no medium to transmit the noise of the universe. Picture yourself sinking into this deep, liquid quiet, feeling it fill your ears and dampen the active thoughts of the mind. You are submerged in a sea of calm where the concept of noise has been forgotten. The silence presses against your skin, a soft and heavy swallow that protects you from the chaos of the waking world. It is a physical presence, a soothing weight that holds you down in the best possible way. The nervous system quiets down in response, matching the profound stillness of the environment. It is a gentle reminder that silence is a protective force, sealing you away in a quiet room where you can find deep and restorative sleep. A faint magnetic pulse lifts the dust into the air. On this world, the gravity is so weak that the gray powder floats in a state of near suspension, hovering just inches above the bedrock. Imagine lying down on this floating carpet, feeling the tiny grains support you like a cloud of static. There are no pressure points here, no hard contact with the ground, only a gentle levitation that unburdens the spine of the limbs. You are drifting in a sea of microgravity, turning slowly in the silence like a leaf on a still pond. The heavy chains of the earth have been broken, leaving you light and free to float into the dark. The sensation is one of total release, a physical unraveling of all tightness. You are weightless, suspended in the vacuum. It is a gentle reminder that the heavy burdens you carry are not yours to keep, and you can let them float away into the night while you rest. A single stone has rested in this crater for eons. It has not moved since the planets were young, sitting in perfect stillness while the galaxy turns around it. The rock is gray and smooth, eroded only by the slow rain of stardust. Picture yourself sitting beside this ancient sentinel, borrowing its patience and its weight. You are becoming as still as the stone, your breathing slowing to match the geological time frame of the asteroid. There is no rush here, no deadline to meet, only the endless present moment. The stability of the object is contagious, grounding you in the here and now. You are anchored to the timeline of the universe, where 1,000,000 years is just a blink of an eye. The pressure to change dissolves. It is a gentle reminder that you are allowed to simply exist, solid and still, without needing to move or improve anything for the duration of the night. Millions of miles of emptiness create a perfect buffer. From this vantage point in the outer belt, the noisy world you know is reduced to a silent, flickering point of light that is easily covered by a thumb. Picture looking back across the vast, dark ocean of space and realizing that nothing from that world can reach you here. The distance acts as a filter, stripping away the urgency and the volume of life, leaving only the peace of the void. You are insulated by the light years, wrapped in a cocoon of solitude that is luxurious and safe. The silence of the gap is profound. You are alone in the best possible way, drifting in a private sanctuary where the phone never rings. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to disconnect completely, placing a vast and unbridgeable distance between yourself and the noise so that you may drift into the quiet. A pool of shadow lies at the bottom of the valley. This darkness is not just an absence of light, but a reservoir of deep, preserving cold that has gathered for centuries. Imagine walking down the slope and stepping into the shadow, feeling the temperature drop instantly against your skin. It is a refreshing shock, like stepping into a cool mountain lake on a hot day. The heat of the mind dissipates into the vacuum, replaced by a heavy, soothing numbness that spreads through the chest and head. You are being cooled down, preserved in the stillness of the dark. The cold is clean and absolute, stopping all racing thoughts and freezing the moment in place. You are wrapped in this thermal blanket. It is a gentle reminder that cooling down is a way to slow down, allowing the body to enter a state of deep, suspended hibernation where nothing can disturb you. The path of the stone is a closed loop of peace. It travels the same silent track through the solar system again and again, a rhythm of movement that is as reliable as a heartbeat. Imagine surrendering to this circular motion, letting go of the need to steer your own course. You are a passenger on a ship that knows exactly where it is going, gliding through the velvet dark on invisible rails of gravity. The movement is smooth and continuous, a gentle rocking that lulls the inner ear. You can trust the momentum to carry you, you do not need to push. The repetition is hypnotic, a soothing cycle that signals the brain to let go. You are dissolving into the inertia. It is a gentle reminder that you can trust the flow of the night to carry you safely through the darkness, knowing that the cycle will always bring you back to the light. A profound lack of echo characterizes this lonely world. Sound has no place here, for there is no air to carry the vibration of a voice or the crash of a falling stone. Imagine standing in the center of a vast crater, shouting into the void and hearing absolutely nothing in return. The silence is not empty, it is a heavy, dampening force that swallows every noise before it is born. You are wrapped in this acoustic insulation, protected from the clamor of the universe by the physics of the vacuum. The quiet presses against your ears like soft cotton, soothing the auditory nerves and signaling the brain that the danger has passed. You are floating in a bubble of new peace, where the only sound is the phantom rhythm of your own slowing pulse. The environment creates a sanctuary of stillness that is physical and absolute. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to listen for anything right now, for the silence is here to guard your rest. The surface texture is rough yet softened by time. Billions of years of cosmic erosion have worn down the sharpest peaks of the asteroid, leaving a landscape of rolling stone that feels ancient to the touch. Picture reaching out to run your hand along the cold, gray bedrock, feeling the friction of history beneath your fingertips. The stone is cool and solid, a tactile anchor in the floating drift of space. You can feel the density of the object, a heavy mass that has survived the chaos of the early solar system to find peace in the dark. You are borrowing this stability, letting the heaviness of the rock seep into your own limbs, weighing them down against the mattress. The sensation is grounding, pulling you out of the flighty thoughts of the mind and down into the solid reality of the earth. It is a gentle reminder that you are built on a foundation of strength, supported by the deepened and loving earth while you drift into dreams. Stars reflect off the ice in millions of tiny sparks. Hidden within the greatest are microscopic crystals of ancient water ice, catching the faint light of the galaxy and scattering it back into the void. Imagine floating above this glittering field, watching the ground beneath you shimmer with a soft, bioluminescent scale. The lights are not bright, they are faint and diamond hard, twinkling slowly as the asteroid turns. You are mesmerized by this visual display, a sea of tiny stars that mirrors the vast ocean above. The eyes soften as they trace the patterns in the dust, losing focus and surrendering to the blur. The light is cool and distant, offering a sense of beauty without the heat of the sun. You are suspended between two skies, one above and one below, wrapped in a cocoon of gentle starlight. It is a gentle reminder that even in the deepest shadow, there is a soft and guiding light that surrounds you, keeping you safe while you rest. The slow tumble creates a rhythmic shifting of the horizon. This world does not stand still but rocks gently back and forth as it rotates, like a cradle swayed by an invisible hand. Picture yourself lying on the surface, looking up at the sky, and feeling this massive, slow motion sway in your ear. The stars rise and dip in a predictable cadence, a cosmic rocking chair that soothes the nervous system. You are synchronized with this movement, your body accepting the slow rhythm as its own. The momentum is heavy and reliable, a force of nature that requires no engine and no effort. You are being rocked to sleep by the inertia of the stone, held safely in the grip of gravity while the universe turns. The motion is a lullaby of physics. It is a gentle reminder that you are being held and dropped by forces much larger than yourself, allowing you to let go of control and drift into the comforting rhythm of the night. This rock has waited patiently since the dawn of time. There is no concept of rushing here, no anxiety about the future, only the endless, patient drift of matter through the dark. Imagine adopting the mindset of the stone, becoming heavy, cold, and utterly still. You are entering a state of suspended animation where the passage of centuries feels like seconds. The asteroid is not going anywhere, and neither are you. You are simply existing in the perfect stillness of the moment. The pressure to achieve or to move dissolves into the vacuum, leaving behind a profound sense of relief. You are a fixed point in the cosmos, unbothered by the turning of the galaxy. The piece here is structural, built into the atoms of the world. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to change or move or improve right now. You are allowed to simply exist, frozen in a moment of perfect peace. A deep pool of shadow swallows the light completely. On the dark side of the asteroid, the sun is blocked by the mass of the stone, creating a zone of permanent, ink-black night. Picture slipping into this shadow, feeling the visual noise of the universe disappear as you are enveloped in the cool, velvety darkness. The blackness is thick and opaque, a soothing balm that coats the mind and quiets the optic nerve. You are hidden here, invisible to the rest of the galaxy, safe in a pocket of absolute privacy. The temperature drops, freezing the moment and preserving the silence. You are floating in a sensory deprivation tank built by nature, stripped of all distraction. The darkness wraps around you like a heavy wool blanket, insulating you from the demands of the light. It is a gentle reminder that darkness is not an absence, but a presence of peace, a vast and welcoming space where you are safe to close your eyes. The distance from the noisy earth is vast and absolute. Millions of miles of empty vacuum create a perfect barrier between you and the chaotic energy of the inner planets. Picture the earth as a tiny, silent blue star in the distance, too far away to be heard, too small to be significant. You have crossed the Great Divide, finding a place of exile that is quiet and safe. The distance acts as a filter, stripping away the urgency and the volume of life, leaving only the pure, static hiss of the universe. You are alone in the best possible way, insulated by the vastness, wrapped in a cocoon of light years. The isolation is a luxury, a private space where you can finally hear the sound of your own slowing breath. You are unreachable, tucked away in a secret pocket of the solar system. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to disconnect completely, placing a vast and unbridgeable distance between yourself and the world so that you may drift into the quiet. A profound lack of echo characterizes this lonely world. Sound has no place here, for there is no air to carry the vibration of a voice or the crash of a falling stone. Imagine standing in the center of a vast crater, shouting into the void, and hearing absolutely nothing in return. The silence is not empty, it is a heavy, dampening force that swallows every noise before it is born. You are wrapped in this acoustic insulation, protected from the clamor of the universe by the physics of the vacuum. The quiet presses against your ears like soft cotton, soothing the auditory nerves and signaling the brain that the danger has passed. You are floating in a bubble of mute peace, where the only sound is the phantom rhythm of your own slowing pulse. The environment creates a sanctuary of stillness that is physical and absolute. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to listen for anything right now, for the silence is here to guard your rest. The surface texture is rough yet softened by time. Billions of years of cosmic erosion have worn down the sharpest peaks of the asteroid, leaving a landscape of rolling stone that feels ancient to the touch. Picture reaching out to run your hand along the cold, gray bedrock, feeling the friction of history beneath your fingertips. The stone is cool and solid, a tactile anchor in the floating drift of space. You can feel the density of the object, a heavy mass that has survived the chaos of the early solar system to find peace in the dark. You are borrowing this stability, letting the heaviness of the rock seep into your own limbs, weighing them down against the mattress. The sensation is grounding, pulling you out of the flighty thoughts of the mind and down into the solid reality of the earth. It is a gentle reminder that you are built on a foundation of strength, supported by the deepened and loving earth while you drift into dreams. Stars reflect off the ice in millions of tiny sparks. Hidden within the gray dust are microscopic crystals of ancient water ice, catching the faint light of the galaxy and scattering it back into the void. Imagine floating above this glittering field, watching the ground beneath you shimmer with a soft bioluminescent scope. The lights are not bright, they are faint and diamond hard, twinkling slowly as the asteroid turns. You are mesmerized by this visual display, a sea of tiny stars that mirrors the vast ocean above. The eyes soften as they trace the patterns in the dust, losing focus and surrendering to the blur. The light is cool and distant, offering a sense of beauty without the heat of the sun. You are suspended between the skies, one above and one below, wrapped in a cocoon of gentle starlight. It is a gentle reminder that even in the deepest shadow, there is a soft and guiding light that surrounds you, keeping you safe while you rest. A slow tumble creates a rhythmic shifting at the horizon. This world does not stand still, but rocks gently back and forth as it rotates, like a cradle swayed by an invisible hand. Picture yourself lying on the surface, looking up at the sky, and feeling this massive, slow motion swaying your inner ear. The stars rise and dip in a predictable cadence, a cosmic rocking chair that soothes the nervous system. You are synchronized with this movement, your body accepting the slow rhythm as its own. The momentum is heavy and reliable, a force of nature that requires no pendulum, no effort. You are being rocked to sleep by the inertia of the stone, held safely in the grip of gravity while the universe turns. The motion is a lullaby of physics. It is a gentle reminder that you are being held and rocked by forces much larger than yourself, allowing you to let go of control and drift into the comforting rhythm of the night. This rock has waited patiently since the dawn of time. There is no concept of rushing here, no anxiety about the future, only the endless, patient drift of matter through the dark. Imagine adopting the mindset of the stone, becoming heavy, cold, and utterly still. You are entering a state of suspended animation, where the passage of centuries feels like seconds. The asteroid is not going anywhere, and neither are you. You are simply existing in the perfect stillness of the moment. The pressure to achieve or to move dissolves into the vacuum, leaving behind a profound sense of relief. You are a fixed point in the cosmos, unbothered by the turning of the galaxy. The piece of your structure built into the atoms of the world. It is a gentle reminder that you do not need to change or move or improve. Right now, you are allowed to simply exist, frozen in a moment of perfect peace. A pool of shadow swallows the light completely. On the dark side of the asteroid, the sun is blocked by the mass of the stone, creating a zone of permanent, ink-black night. Picture slipping into the shadow, feeling the visual noise of the universe disappear as you are enveloped in the cool, velvety darkness. The blackness is thick and opaque, a soothing balm that coats the mind and quiets the optic nerve. You are hidden here, invisible to the rest of the galaxy, safe in a pocket of absolute privacy. The temperature drops, freezing the moment and preserving the silence. You are floating in a sensory deprivation, think built by nature, stripped of all distraction. The darkness wraps around you like a heavy wool blanket, insulating you from the demands of the light. It is a gentle reminder that darkness is not an absence, but a presence of peace, a vast and welcoming space where you are safe to close your eyes. The distance from the noisy earth is vast and absolute. Millions of miles of empty vacuum create a perfect barrier between you and the chaotic energy of the inner planets. Picture the earth as a tiny, silent blue star in the distance, too far away to be heard, too small to be significant. You have crossed the great divide, finding a place of exile that is quiet and safe. The distance acts as a filter, stripping away the urgency and the volume of life, leaving only the pure, static hiss of the universe. You are alone in the best possible way, insulated by the vastness, wrapped in a cocoon of light years. The isolation is a luxury, a private space where you can finally hear the sound of your own slowing breath. You are unreachable, tucked away in a secret pocket of the solar system. It is a gentle reminder that it is safe to disconnect completely, placing a vast and unbridgeable distance between yourself and the world, so that you may drift into the quiet. And so we drift to the end of our quiet journey through the cosmic dance of the asteroid. We have traced the arcs of these ancient wanderers, stone giants drifting endlessly through the velvet silence of the void. There is a deep safety in knowing that the universe operates on such a vast, timeless clockwork. The great impacts are merely history, carvings in the grand design that allowed us to be here, safe and warm in this moment. The chaos is distant here. There is only the gentle, gravity-bound lullaby of the stars. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. Now, release the day. There's nothing left to do, nowhere else you need to be. Just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy, surrendering to the pull of rest. Let the silent, floating piece of the asteroid belt cradle your thoughts into darkness. Good night.